Welcome into Minot State Inside Access. As always, I'm joined by head football coach Tyler Hughes. Coach Hughes, you guys have Crookston this week, but last week on Saturday, when you were asked after the game, you talked about personal responsibility. What needs to happen for guys to start taking a little bit more personal responsibility on the field?
Well, first of all, you don't say something like that without, it being thoughtful, so I don't want it to seem like, nobody's taking responsibility or anything like that.
Definitely.
What I mean by that is that, when you're on a team and in a football program, your individual contribution is very, very important, and that might be, you might be a role player, you might be the most talented kid, you might be the least talented kid, but whatever you are, wherever you are in that regard, it's doing the best you can given your ability and skill set.
Okay.
And I think what happens with football teams is you're building and trying to develop a culture is guys don't quite understand what their responsibilities are and how they can really fulfill them. And so in that regard, to what I had mentioned after the game, each player needs to be introspective and identify what exactly is it that I can bring to the table.
Okay.
In conjunction with their coaches, giving them, coaching and feedback. This is where we see you and where you can fit in. And I think right now our team, there's still guys that are not quite sure about themselves and where they can contribute, and as a result, it makes them play a little slower on the field. Makes them maybe not quite understanding what I need them to do. So that's really what I was talking about in terms of responsibility.
Okay, that makes sense. This past weekend, you guys had a tough time on third down, going 0 for 13. Can you attribute that a little bit to that personal responsibility that you just, attributed to, or are you waiting for someone to kind of step up and take that lead and say, enough is enough? Or
Yeah, I think both of those things. You're 0 for 13 on third down, and you think, well, as a player, it's like, okay, I'm going to play incredibly hard on third down, and then I start doing that, and that passes along a positive vibe to the guy right next to me, and then that goes on to the guy next to him, and so on and so forth. And so everyone just collectively having some urgency on third down is important. And then as far as just somebody stepping up and taking the bull by the horn, so to speak, coaches can do a lot, but ultimately when teams really reach their peak potential, championship teams, is because the players have really taken a significant piece of the leadership. And right now we need more of that. We need our leaders to step forward and be stronger leaders and be a little more demonstrative and have that drive and passion on the field. Now they've had it at different points of the season, but we didn't have it at the game on Saturday, and they know that, and we've talked about that, and it needs to be better.
Okay. Crookston comes into this game, similar circumstances to you guys, don't have a win right now. Do you think your guys are feeling a little anxious at this point in time? And, once one win comes, do you think some more will follow after that?
Well, John Wooden used to always say, hustle but don't hurry. And I say that because I think for our guys, we need to be urgent but not anxious, right?
Okay.
So, if they come into this game like, okay, here's our chance, I talked to them about my feelings on that. Number one, I feel like we've had our chances previous to this game, and many chances. And so if we're gearing up for this one game, then I don't think we've done enough in previous games, and they should feel that way themselves. The other thing with that is it is our next game on the schedule. We need to prepare. We need to practice well. We need to have the urgency and the emphasis on getting the job done and taking that responsibility for their individual assignments, as we had talked about. So I don't want us to be anxious at all, but I do want us to be urgent and to play with an edge.
Okay. Surrounding this game as well as Military Appreciation Day, do you talk to your guys about that at all? Just kind of what it means and maybe how lucky they are to go out and play football every day?
I think it's a really important thing to talk to them about, and we will. My dad was in the military for 30 years. He was a retired colonel. He's a Green Beret. He definitely served this country well for a number of years, and has continued to do that into retirement and varying capacities. So I think it's a really important thing. I feel always very blessed that I was a part of a military family, because you start to really understand just how much those men and women go through to provide freedom and to provide a safe place to sleep at night, and there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into that a lot of people don't understand. And so yeah, it's definitely something we'll talk about as a team, and I want our guys to feel fortunate for where they're at, and especially for the reason of who's providing that freedom and who's helped them get here as well.
Okay. Coach, we've been doing this for 7-8 weeks now talking, so we just wanted to change things up a little bit. Back when you played football, I was just curious to what position you played, and did you play any other sports when you were younger?
Yeah. Well, so, when I was a kid, my parents, they never put me into daycare or I don't remember ever having a babysitter or anything like that, other than they would just throw balls at me, footballs and basketballs, and they signed me up for every sport. I'm really glad they did that. I played football, of course. I played basketball. I played soccer. I played tennis, ran track and field. I swam. I mean, I did kind of everything. And I'm glad that I was able to do it. I really enjoy sports, and I like watching them. I like playing them. I like being around them. Obviously, that's why I'm the coach. So I did everything. And then as a football player, there were sports, soccer and basketball, particularly when I was younger. I always felt I was probably better at those sports than I was actually at football. But I loved the game of football more than any of those.
Okay.
Which is why I wanted to coach. But I was a wide receiver and a defensive back when I was in high school. We actually, when I was a high school player, we played on a nationally ranked team. We were undefeated when I was a junior, and finished number 8, I believe, in the USA Today poll for high school. So I had a great high school coach and a great high school experience. We had a lot of good players on that team. And then I went to Snow College, and I played wide receiver there and played with a number of really good players. A number of them actually played on in the NFL. One of them still playing in the NFL. And so I've always had, I was fortunate to be a part of good teams and always around sports. One thing that my wife teases me with is she always says, like, I'm like a dog, in that if there's a ball, like, I just go tear off after it, and that's kind of how it's always been. And so I love sports. I love what it has done for me, and I love what it does for others, and definitely will be around it for a long, long time.
Okay. I mean, big sporting event coming up here this week, the World Series starting. Do you have a prediction for that series?
Well, I was really hoping the Cardinals would make the World Series again, and I wanted them to win it. So Kansas City and San Francisco. San Francisco's got a great team. They always have. I really like the small market teams in baseball, though. Because it's something that I've told our team a lot. Really what's going to make our team good is player development and the people in the program, right? So we could have all the facilities and the resources in the world, but if you don't have the right people, it doesn't matter. So the Royals have one of the low payrolls in baseball. I doubt, probably if you asked anybody, they couldn't name 3 players on the Royals, right? For the most part. But people know who the Yankees are, the Red Sox, and everybody else. So all that being said, my prediction is the Kansas City Royals, and I like their style, and I like what they've had to overcome to get to the point where they're at. So I'm pulling for the Royals, and I think they're going to get it done.
Okay. I wish I could say the same thing because I'm a big Tigers fan, and I can't cheer for the Royals. So, but anyways, Coach, thanks for joining us as always.
Yep.
When we come back, I'll be joined by volleyball player Mallory Sall.
For 100 years, Minot State has grown as a premier university. Graduate and undergraduate students and faculty working in collaboration. NCAA Division II athletics. Community engagement. Preparing successful graduates. We're proud of our 100-year history, and we're ready for a new century. In the midst of excellence, we have found our place, legacy, and vision. Minot State University. Be seen, be heard.
Papa John, pizza maker. Peyton Manning, playmaker.
New season, Peyton. You got to have a kickoff deal to start it right.
Okay, like a superstition.
Yeah. You got any superstitions?
Score more points than they do?
That's not really superstitious.
It works.
Up your game with the new kickoff special. Get any large 2-topping pizza, only $10. Add a mega chocolate chip cookie for only $5 more.
Better ingredients, better pizza,
Better football.
Papa John's.
Welcome back to Minot State Inside Access. I'm joined by volleyball player Mallory Sall. This past weekend, you guys played Minnesota Duluth, and you got a win at St. Cloud State. How big was that to get a win for the team this past weekend?
I mean, it was huge, like just for our moral and everything, like it felt so good, and to beat them in 3 was the best thing ever. I remember just like looking at a couple girls and just big smiles everywhere, so it was tons of fun.
You personally had a really good game against Duluth, a pretty high hitting percentage. Is it frustrating to come out empty-handed in games like that?
I think for anyone, I mean, everyone played so well, and against such a good team, it was tons of fun. And I mean, I don't think any of us walked away unhappy with that game. Like to put them, like they looked worried for a little while there, and that was fun for us.
Okay. You're from Canada. There's a lot of Canadians on this team. Is that cool to have a lot of other Canadians on your team?
Yeah, it is. It's funny because we get like we have jokes about Americans and Americans have jokes about us. So it's nice to kind of have like Canadians to back us up sometimes.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that you like most about this team?
I just love like all the girls. There's so many like different personalities and like quirks that we have that just make it fun to be around.
Okay. Has volleyball always been your sport, or did you play any other sports growing up as well?
My mom was kind of the lady that was like, I'm gonna put you in everything, and then you pick the one you like. So I played like soccer, like softball, everything, hockey, you know, the classic Canadian, right? And
Okay,
yeah, kind of went with volleyball.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining me today. When we come back, I'll be joined by Jamie MacFarlane.
Don't let a sports injury leave your student athlete on the sidelines. Team up with the experts at Trinity Sports Medicine and put your champion back in the game.
I love going to games, I love educating, I love taking care of kids.
Serving student athletes across the region, Trinity's medical staff and certified trainers assess, rehabilitate, and reduce the injuries that put athletes at risk.
We're a part of this community, we're a part of these schools, we're a part of these kids' families.
Trinity Sports Medicine, always on your team.
Welcome back to Minot State Inside Access. I'm joined by senior forward Jamie MacFarlane on the women's soccer team. Jamie, you guys got 2 wins this past weekend, one at St. Cloud State, one at University of Minnesota Duluth. You got the game winner in overtime at St. Cloud State. What was going through your mind when you got that goal, and did you have a cool celebration to go along with it?
The first thing I thought, honestly, was just thank goodness it went in, and I looked up at the clock and saw there was less than a minute left. So we wanted to get the goal in the first couple minutes, but in the last minute, it doesn't really matter. It went in for us. We got 3 points. And my celebration, I honestly just crashed the net, put the ball in, and turned around, hugged my closest teammate, I think it was Gemma, and it was perfect because the 2 assists came from Gemma and then Chloe, so they were just right there, and we all celebrated together.
Okay. You guys obviously got 6 points this weekend. How big was that for the team to come away with 6 points?
It was huge. We had been talking about it all week at practice, how if we got 6 points this weekend, it would boost us up in the conference standings, and we need to make a run right now if we want a home playoff game. And the seniors on the team and the juniors remember what the home playoff game was like when we won conference last time, and all of us were just talking all week about how it was the best thing we had ever experienced, how all the freshmen would love playing in a game like that. So I think it just pushed us, and it really gave us confidence going into the weekend.
Mm-hmm. You guys seem to be peaking at the right time right now. Do you think there's any particular reason for that, or are you guys just playing well?
I think we're just finally starting to click everything, the attacking plays that we've been working on in practice, getting the ball to our attacking mid, Kristen Long, and the strikers or wingers. We've just been working on that a lot the past 2 weeks, and it didn't really happen last weekend, but this past weekend I think we just started really working together, and it's just all coming together right now.
Okay, you personally had 2 goals this weekend. You scored one against Minnesota Duluth as well, the 3rd goal of the game. How big was that for your confidence going forward for the rest of the season?
It helped a lot. Even the last couple days I've been talking to the coaches or my parents, and they were telling me before I was kind of down on myself. Like, I knew how much Jason had put his confidence into me, into scoring this week or this season and getting assists and everything. And the past few weeks since my 1 assist, I think was a few weekends ago, but I haven't really done anything since, well, I haven't scored or gotten any points since then. So I was just getting down on myself kind of last week at practice, but so it'll help a lot going into the next season or the next weekend. A lot of, like I said, my mom and my friends here at school have just told me to keep playing like myself. It's going to come. Don't stress about it. As soon as you stop worrying about it, it's going to happen. And this weekend, I was telling everyone, I was like, oh, I'm just more relaxed. I dreamt about scoring, and then it just happened this weekend in both games.
Sweet. You're from Canada. Is soccer like big where you're from in Canada, or not really? Or?
Not overly. I wouldn't say no. It started getting big when I was growing up, but I think, and we had a few good years of Saskatchewan, like provincial soccer throughout Canada and stuff like that. But honestly, I usually work with the club that I played with in Saskatoon, but I haven't been home for very long or at the right seasons to go coach or help coach academies and stuff. But from what I hear, it's starting to get bigger and it'll continue to grow. So hopefully we can get some more Canadian girls down here playing soccer.
Okay. All your teammates, your coaches, they call you Canada. So when you take the field, do you feel like you have the weight of a country on your shoulders?
No. I think it's just differentiating between the billion Jamies that we have on the field. So it helps. Just a nickname. I mean, it'd be awesome if the weight of the country's no big deal.
All right, fair enough. Well, thanks for your time. That does it for another episode of Minot State Inside Access. Join us next week when we have head football coach Tyler Hughes and some more student athletes.